Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Want to start the week off with a groaner? Here's one. A little southern redneck boy says to his mama, "Where do ears of corn come from, Mama?" And Mama says, "Why, honey, the stalk brings them." Oh, good morning. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, good morning, good morning. How are you? Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning. Wheels, if you could turn up the feed line to me just a little bit in my ears, I'd appreciate it, old buddy. Good morning, I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Right now, without any more, let's go to our phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Lorna.
Hi.
Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I hope you're going to be at Lunch Bunch on Thursday.
Oh, I'm planning to.
All right. God bless you. Thank you for the pledge. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Have an awesome day.
Thank you. Nice lady right there. Very nice lady. Hey, it's time for our weather, and the weather is brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Hello, Roger and the whole crew over at K&R Rental. They opened the doors up at 7 o'clock this morning till 5:30 tonight, Monday through Friday. Saturday, 7 to 2. You'd better get on in there. They've got all your tools, all your equipment, everything from forklifts all the way up to lawnmowers. I'm telling you, it's all there. And all the experience to tell you what to do and how to do it. You better believe it. K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. And right now, here's the weather.
Well, we're getting ready to saddle up and ride again for the weekend. Here is what we can expect as far as the weather is concerned. Today, looking at partly cloudy skies. Really not much of a wind to speak of. Temperatures reaching up to about 90 degrees for today. Tonight, low of 60. Tomorrow, sunny skies. Winds are going to be picking up to about 14 miles an hour out of the west. High of 93 with an overnight low of 62. Partly cloudy, 86 for Wednesday. Then it looks like we're going to be cooling off as we get into the weekend. Looks like sunny skies, 82 for Thursday. Friday, sunny and 80. Looks like that for Saturday as well. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. I appreciate it. Brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. And these folks really can help get that job done. I mean, all the equipment and tools, everything at K&R Rental. You stop over and see them today. Call them at 678-3122. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to tell you a little bit about what's going to happen this morning. We're going to have, at 8:31, we're going to give away some cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox. And then at 9 o'clock, I'll fill a little time as we wait to go on at 9:15 with Vicki at Vicky's Country Garden. 9:30, we've got Pacific legal attorney Christina Martin coming on the program. And then followed at 10:06, a longtime friend of ours, Mitzi Ramsey, her and her husband Rick. I've been friends of ours for a long time. They're going to be talking about the Oregon Trail Muzzleloaders Rendezvous. And then at 10:30, we're going to talk to Ed Brodow about his new book, Tyranny of the Minority, and how the left is destroying America. So we're going to have him on the air. Don't forget our friends at Daryl's Cleaners, and they're located at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You know, they will even wash your clothes. I had a lady call last week after I did the ad for Daryl's Cleaners, and after the program, and she says, what? They will actually do our laundry? And I said, yes, they'll wash, dry, fold, and iron all your clothes. She said, holy smokes, I've got to get in there at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, Daryl's Cleaners. Best in dry cleaning to help preserve and prolong the life of your clothes. They do it all at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, the best. All right, your calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, can I have your attention out there in Radio Land for a few minutes? I've got a dear friend, and he is looking for a cab-over camper, and he doesn't want one of those real long ones. He wants he's got a long box, 8 foot, and he wants it to be right at the 8 foot mark. He doesn't want to drop over on the hitch or anything. He wants just an 8 foot camper, and it's got to be in really, really good condition. He wants excellent condition if possible. Looking for a camper. Anybody out there that has one of those campers for sale, you can call my number, and I'll take the information after the program at 312-2976. 312-2976. That's my number to give him the information. If you've got a good, real good in-shape camper that'll fit an 8 foot box, not the big drop over kind or anything on the hitch, just flush with the back end. There you go. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Hello, Ramsey's. How are you this morning? Oh, my goodness, we've got hot weather on the way. Yep, and you want your air conditioning units to work efficiently to keep you cool. Well, I'll tell you what, they've got all the air filters over there. You can buy one or a case of 12 and get discount pricing. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 6780459, where they always provide warm winters and cool summers. Open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric. You stop in and see them today. I hope that all the dads in the audience, and I mean this, all the dads, whether they're brand new dads of a little bitty baby girl or boy, or old dads like me, I hope you had a very nice Father's Day. I had the best Father's Day ever. And I really felt bad that my son Jake couldn't come down with his family because Jake was on duty this weekend. But I had a nice long talk with him and everything, just really great. But Toby and Nick and the boys came over here and spent the whole day here from noon until about 5 o'clock last night. Best doggone Father's Day I've ever had. So thank you. And I hope and I pray that all the dads out there had a really nice day. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, don't forget Denny's Restaurant. We are going to be over there on Thursday. It's Lunch Bunch Day at America's Diner this Thursday. Oh, my goodness. Great people. Great people. And, of course, super delicious food at Denny's Restaurant. All that brand new lineup of burgers. And, of course, I always like the breakfasts over there. You'll just have a great time and enjoy great eating at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. All right, come on, give me a jingle. It's your turn. Get on the phone this morning and give me a call. I want to talk a little bit about Judge Jeanine Pirro at Fox News in just a minute. She was, I think, 1,000% right this weekend. We'll talk about that in just a second. Berry Equipment and Rental. Hey, sales, service, and parts, and these are really good folks. They've got all the Bobcats. Yeah, buddy. They've got the Bobcat excavators, all shapes and sizes. I mean, and right out behind their place, they got a great big old sandbox. Oh, my. You can try them out. And, you know, they got those Walker mowers, 0% interest for 48 months. Hey, let me tell you something. They care. And they've got the equipment you need at Berry Equipment and Rental. Stop in and see them today, and they can help you. Juan and the rest of the folks, South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Berry Equipment and Rental. All right, now it's your turn. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Judge Jeanine was on Fox News this weekend, and she really blasted. I mean, she came undone and blasted, and I think rightfully so, the Republicans in Congress for a do-nothing attitude for the first 150 days of the Trump campaign. Now, normally on this program, I'm going to go after the Democrats, and if the Republicans need a good swift kick, I'll give them one too. But today I'm centering mostly on the Republicans because they have done nothing. They've acted very self-righteous, very arrogant with their wingtip shoes, and have done nothing. And she just really opened up the water valves and let the water flow all over the Republicans on her show the other night. And it's really the truth. It almost acts like, and I'd like somebody to call and tell me what they think. It's almost like Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell and some of the so-called hierarchy are also involved in a do-nothing attitude or obstruction attitude against Trump to make him fail. And I really have studied this over the last couple of days. And 150 days of the Trump administration, and even though members of his own party have been obstructionists, and of course the Democrats have been obstructionists, Trump has accomplished a lot. And I just think that he's going to have to use the attitude that he even has some in his own party that are against him and are trying to fight him, and he's just got to plunge ahead. He's got to plunge ahead. And I hope some of the old guard will fall by the wayside. I was talking, and I'm not going to mention his name because I didn't ask permission yet this morning to use his name, but I was talking to one of our state Republicans that is one of the most honored Republican legislators for a long time in the state, and he also is just absolutely sickened by the lack of doing anything on behalf of the Republican Party. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How's things at the ranch?
Well, they're pretty good. I saw on my phone this morning when I got up, I didn't have my phone with me, this weekend, but I saw that you had called, and I want to apologize to you, so go ahead.
Well, yeah, but it was kind of an emergency. My wife had some strawberry starch she wanted to give your wife.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And would that be possible if we brought them with us to lunch bunch?
Absolutely. I'd look forward to that.
Okay. And then on this, excuse me, On this Republican-Democrat deal,
Yeah.
you know, the reason the Republicans lost that ball game is because they didn't get to practice that day. So that wasn't even being fair.
No, Keith, you're a dear friend, but that's not even close. No, and I got to be really careful here this morning, and I think you'll agree with me, is the Republicans didn't lose that game the other night because of a missed and canceled practice. No, not in any way, shape, or form, because they've been practicing for a long, long time. But, and I don't even want to use the shooting as any kind of an excuse, because I don't think that is at all appropriate. What happened there was the Democrats had better players. There's no question about it. And they had a guy that used to pitch collegiately for Louisiana State University, I believe it was. So, they lost the game, big deal. It was a charity event. They raised well over $1 million. But the shooting itself is a completely separate entity, and our thoughts and prayers go out to Steve Scalise. He's still not out of the woods yet. He's had multiple surgeries, and all I can do is just absolutely ask you to keep him in your prayers.
You're absolutely right, and I appreciate you telling us that. The point I wanted to get across, though, was what a bunch of crybabies the Democrats are when they lose. Like the election, they have to find an excuse like I was using there as an example. And, I'm getting sick and tired of it myself.
Well, okay, but Keith, don't you agree? Let me ask you a question, counterbalancing your question. Don't you agree that I, for one, I'm willing to try a softer, more gentle approach? I know there's a lot of people that just ran in the barrel pit when they heard me say that. But I'm not going to criticize anybody until they really deserve a good slam dunk. Right now, I think that this country is as precarious as it could be in position of slipping down a total negativity toilet. And I'm not going to get into that this morning about the left did this or the left did said that or the Republicans said that or that. There's criticism that can be leveled on both sides of the aisle, and I'm going to be very, very fair and balanced about that. But we have got to stop the incendiary remarks that may cause some absolute flapjack like this guy the other day to pick up a gun and go do what he did.
That is unexcusable under no circumstances.
Yeah.
It's the thing I was going to mention is about Jay Sokoloff, who's a personal attorney for the president, I understand.
Yes.
And he was being interviewed by Chris Wallace. And they kind of got into it a little bit. And if you listen to it, you tell me what you think. But I think a little bit of the fact that Chris Wallace is a Democrat showed through just a little bit.
Oh, there's bias in any kind of reporting and or interviewing. And yes, I think a person's personal traits and habits and likes and dislikes come through in their interviews. They come through in mine. I mean, I'm very conservative. I don't like the liberal lifestyle. I never have. And I'm very biased and prejudiced. So I guess it would come out in mine also.
Well, but it was pretty evident yesterday, I thought, and I've always kind of liked Chris Wallace because he seemed to be a pretty straight shooter, but he wanted to argue yesterday. He really did.
Yeah.
He was looking for a fight.
Well, you can always find a fight if you're looking for one. You can always find some kind of an argument if you want to start one and get in one. And right now, this morning, I'm just certainly hoping and praying that we can have a calmer, more intellectual look at what's going on in politics. I condemned the Republicans a few moments ago en masse because I think that absolutely nothing is getting done for you, your wife Nancy, me, my wife, my family. And it's nothing more than dragging their feet, and quite frankly, in some of their cases, dragging their knuckles. And I'm a little bit bitter about the party that's in charge not doing anything.
Well, what about our U.S. representative named Mike? He happens to be hiding under his desk most of the time, and now he's even getting too lazy to even shave.
Well, there again, I'm not going to go into personal habits or not. I mean, I wear a mustache, and I might get criticized for that. But I agree. Things have got to get done. And if we can chide them into being more progressive in their doing things, then absolutely I'm going to keep on doing it. Keith, God bless you, man. Have a great day. I'll look forward to the strawberries. Thank you.
You got it, buddy.
All right, thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And here's what they can do for you. They can help you get back to being and acting and feeling like yourself. I mean, maybe you've had a little accident. Maybe you've had a broken bone, or maybe you're coming back from, oh boy, some torn muscles or whatever. They can help. They've got the only hydrotherapy pool around the area, and they know all the different exercises. Great physical therapists at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And the number to call and make an appointment right now today, 678-1191. They can help. They will. Oh, my God. Oh, you know what time it is? It's time to think about the great big Rupert 4th of July celebration. Holy moly, it's going to be a Jim Dandy affair. Ho, ho, ho. It's going to start June 28th and go all the way through the 4th of July. It's the 87th annual 4th of July celebration. Starting on June 28th at 7 o'clock with the after-hours melodrama at the Wilson Theater, and continuing on with Christmas in July breakfast on the Square June 29th. Oh, my goodness, every day's chock full. June 30th, they're going to have the Rupert Downs horse races at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. I'm just picking some of the items. July 1st and 2nd and 3rd and 4th. I mean, it's just loaded with all kinds of fun things, including on the 4th of July, one of the best doggone parades you've ever seen. United We Stand, the theme this year, and the Grand Marshals are Roger and Cindy Gray. So don't miss it. Rupert 4th of July celebration for 2017 gonna be great. Absolutely. Time for calls, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline, if you would, please. In just a few minutes, I am going to give away some cookies, so stand by for that. I got to tell you, the other night on TV, I was watching a baseball game, and a commercial came on, and it was for some goofy little cartoon movie called Lego Batman. Seriously, I'm not making this up. Lego Batman, and it was a cartoon type show. And they were showing a highlight of the movie, and one of the highlights had a line that made me really pay attention, because it was really a poignant, very well-constructed line that we all should adhere to. Batman says to Robin, life doesn't give you seatbelts. And I thought about that. Life doesn't give you seatbelts. Now, here it was in a cartoon movie, a promo for it, and Batman says, life doesn't give you seatbelts. How very, very true. You can't buckle up and be safe and live in a little bubble that's going to keep you safe 24/7, 365 for 75, 80 years, however long the Lord gives you. There is no safe zone from reality, and how really true that statement was. Life doesn't give you seatbelts. Caller, I'll be right there in a minute. Stand by. Don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Hello to the wonderful Dr. Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology. You know, if you're noticing a little diminishment in your hearing, you'd better get a hold of them today. They can have that hearing screening and actually find out exactly what the problem is. It might be medicine related. It might be something due to an accident that you've had. Anything. They'll help it, and they can help treat it so that you can start hearing again, too. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Call today for an appointment at 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Yes, and it is a good morning, Zeb.
It is. It is.
You know, Zeb, there are a lot that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party have in common. We know that probably most of the Democratic Party hate Donald Trump for what he has accomplished. And we have many of the do-nothings on the Republican side who are now being exposed for what they're not doing, and they've kind of teamed up. The way I look at it, they've teamed up with the Democratic Party to do whatever it takes to bring Trump down, and Trump has accomplished an awful lot.
Yes.
If they bring Trump down, this country is in trouble.
I agree with you, and I'm just sick of the bickering. I'm sick of the backbiting. I'm sick of the do-nothing. I am criticizing a lackadaisical attitude back in Washington, D.C. that needs, quite frankly, a good, swift kick in the posterior from a pointy-toed Tony Lama boot. I'm sick of what they're not doing back there to get the job done for you and me.
Well, we have to come together at some point. And they're going to have to put the jealousy and the hatred apart, because if we lose this country, what else is there?
I agree.
When the United States goes down, I say 3/4 of the world will go down.
You know, I could not agree with you more, and you're always very insightful, but also you and Mary, I loved having breakfast with you the other day. God bless you and that wonderful, beautiful, feisty little wife you're married to. She is something special. God bless both of you.
Okay, we'll do it again.
Now remember, a word to the wise, Tony. I could tell by her conversation the other day, she's feeling a lot better. Be careful and watch how you tread.
I do. I've been walking on cotton for a long time.
All right, God bless you, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. Oh, I love those people.
Nice being with you and Deanne.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay,
bye-bye.
I'm going to give away some cookies right now. First-time winners only at Sophie's Chatterbox. Oh, my goodness sakes, 530 East Street in Rupert. A dozen cookies to the winner, and they've got a delicious bakery over there. They've got a delicious restaurant over there at Sophie's Chatterbox. Good. Going to ask an easy one here this morning. Easy one. I can see you getting all ready on the telephone. You're going to be like a vulture dialing that number right now, 436-2244. What was the character name of the town drunk on the show Andy of Mayberry? What was the character name of the town drunk on the show Andy of Mayberry? First-time winners only. Please give me a call, 436-2244. What was the character name of the town drunk on the TV series Andy of Mayberry? What was the name? Come on, give me a call real fast, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
It was Otis.
Who is this?
Mark Minton.
Well, my goodness, what kind of flavored cookies are you going to ask for?
I don't know. I like snickerdoodles, but, you know.
Well, the rules are that if you get snickerdoodles or sugar cookies, you have to split half the dozen with me. So you call, let them know when you want your cookies, and then call me, and I'll be over at your office.
All right.
All right, Mark. Way to go, buddy. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Mark Minton is the winner. Otis, and the character that played, or I should say the actor that played Otis, absolutely did a phenomenal job. I mean, he could go into character and played the part with excellence. And you just don't see that kind of character acting, I don't think, anymore today. It's really, humor was funny back then with Barney, Otis, Andy, Opie, Aunt Bee, and the other regulars on the TV show. The Dick Van Dyke Show is another good character show where they had a lot of humor. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to talk to you a little bit about Steve Scalise this morning and the healing process. We'll get into that in just a moment. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. You know, they invite you to call or stop in anytime and ask for a tour of the facility for your loved one that might need that little extra help at this point in their life. Well, they are the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Mini-Cassia area. Absolutely. And very much so being able to provide more than just one-on-one care. They absolutely want to take care of your loved ones. Please call them today at 436-3200. 436-3200. And they're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center in Rupert. Caller, good morning to you. How are you?
Fine. Good morning to you.
Well, thank you.
I was kind of, I was listening to when you were talking about Andy of Mayberry and some of the characters in the old series that we used to have.
Right.
Isn't it sad that we don't have those people anymore? They really made us laugh. They really entertained. You know, when you walked away from those little TV series, you didn't feel like the world was about to end?
Well, I got to be really honest with you, and I don't care, and I mean that, underline the word care. I don't care if I hurt anybody's feelings by saying this. The sitcoms of today, my wife and I will never, ever in our house turn them on. They're filthy. They are loaded with absolute sleaze and filth, and there's nothing funny about them. The days of the Real McCoys, the days of Dick Van Dyke, the days of all the funny, well-written shows with good acting are over.
Don't you miss Gunsmoke?
Oh, I do. I really do.
It really talks about justice, you know, and fairness. And no, I don't watch much TV anymore, and I don't know if they can tell that Americans are not watching TV, because I think Americans have better things to do, and that's to make America great again.
You know, one of the things I would like to see, and of course I'm prejudiced and people are going to say, oh, well, that's just your opinion, but I would really like to see the return of some Western genre of like Gunsmoke or like Rawhide or like any of the big names from days gone by, Bonanza even though that was kind of hokey, you know, the way they had Bonanza with all the leather tooled saddles that never got dirty and the clothes that looked like they just came from the cleaners. But, you know, I'd like to see a good Western again with good Western values.
Well, you know what? I don't know why they couldn't do a current Western depiction of what comes out of the West. Do you know that the hardworking farmers, the hardworking ranchers, they are worth making a series about, because so much of our United States is so far away from the heartland, they wouldn't recognize it if they were plunked right down in the middle of it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I think one of the problems is today, and I think you'll agree with me, is that trying to go back in history, i.e. like Gunsmoke, set back in the 1870s in Dodge City, Kansas, or Rawhide, set during the great big trail driving herds of the 1860s and 70s and 80s from Texas up to Abilene or whatever it might be. They can't be, today, politically correct. Think about the Old West and some of the problems they had in the Old West with the Indians, with Mexicans, and others. They can't be non-politically correct today, and they probably would get banned from being on the air.
Well, you know what? Political correctness is going to ruin the United States. And I think people started saying that 20 years ago. Haven't we had enough of it?
Well, I agree, but let me ask you, if you were the producer and director of a TV series weekly, okay, and you were going to, let's just say, go back to Bonanza, and you were going to talk about the settling of northern Nevada, you were going to talk about the mining, you were going to talk about the ranching, you were going to talk about the problems they had with the Indian tribes, you were going to talk about various other problems. Today, how would you do it and be politically correct so that you don't offend somebody?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think you have to put a disclaimer on your show and tell them that what we are talking about here in this program is how it really was.
There you go. Right there's the key. Right there's the key. In order to remain of a historical value for that era, you have to tell it the way it was. And today, that's the first thing that people will criticize you about, because today, these little snowflakes, they want everything changed and whitewash our history. So there's the problem.
Well, but you know what? Somebody with the money and with courage needs to come out of the closet, or whatever you call it, and start telling the true stories. Because those series, if you can get one on a good TV series, Americans will sit down and listen to it.
I agree.
And you know what? I wouldn't even, I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, 4-year-old, and I think if it was more realistic, she wouldn't even pick up on some of the vulgarities. It's just important that they see a little bit of this depicted in front of their eyes, because sadly, they're not going to read it.
We can't today, and I know I'll probably take some heat over this, but it's the way I feel. We can't depict reality. We can't depict what really historically happened for the fear of stepping on someone's toes. Let me give you an example. If you were to create a movie like the movie with Burt Lancaster called The Unforgiven, it was all about a family living out in the desert, and they were trying to make a living in the horse business, and the Indians kept raiding and attacking them, and they had to kill the Indians that came in there, etc. You can't do that today because that would be deemed non-politically correct.
Okay. More political correctness or non-political correctness is when these people are trying to tell our history and they're not telling it the right way.
I agree with you.
I think that's what Americans need to start demanding. You know, we consider ourselves a truthful country, a truthful nation, but what are we feeding our children? They have no reason to be proud of America because they don't understand what hardships Americans went through to have this country the way it is.
Well, and they don't
kind of understand it a little bit, maybe better than some. The kids that were in the land, the land drawings over in Minidoka County and in that part of our area, when we moved from our homeland and we moved onto a piece of desert and had to take that out of the sagebrush and turn it into a farm, it was the most exciting time in my childhood. And I think there are people out there in your listening audience that know all about that. I don't think half of our kids today know what that was like, and that was only 50 years ago.
I agree. But the mindset today, and it's very unfortunate, and I am not going to adhere to this mindset, Chris, you know me well enough, is that we all have to be so sensitive to other people's feelings. We have to be so sensitive, even though it's of historical value. We have to be so careful. I know Indian tribes around the United States that have filed suit and litigation against people that are non-Indians, and they were actors that portrayed Indians, and they wore headdresses, and they're filing suit. I've got proof, bona fide proof, that they've got upset about it. This is insane.
Well, if we don't start telling the truth, we are going to repeat some of this scary history that
Absolutely.
we're trying to deny.
You know, it's always a pleasure to have you on the air. Good stimulating thought this morning. Thank you so much. God bless you and your family. Have a good day. Thank you. Don't forget, on Thursdays, we have a program segment called It's Time to Grow from University of Idaho horticulturalist Tony McCammon, and does a great job. The people that filled in for him last week, Mark Delichek, did a really good job. And this Thursday, that's going to be at 9:15. It's Time to Grow with Tony McCammon, University of Idaho. Don't miss that. Hey, by the way, it's time for the weather, and then we'll take some more calls. Riverview Urgent Care at 382 North Overland in Burley. Twin Falls Urgent Care at 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin. And Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. You got a minor emergency, Bunky? Well, they'll give you major care. The doctor will see you now, not in 4 or 5 days. And they're open 7 days a week. The Urgent Cares. We'll have more right after this.
Well, we're getting ready to saddle up and ride again for the weekend. Here is what we can expect as far as the weather is concerned. Today, looking at partly cloudy skies, really not much of a wind to speak of. Temperatures reaching up to about 90 degrees for today. Tonight, low of 60. Tomorrow, sunny skies. Winds are going to be picking up to about 14 miles an hour out of the west. High of 93 with an overnight low of 62. Partly cloudy, 86 for Wednesday. Then it looks like we're going to be cooling off as we get into the weekend. Looks like sunny skies, 82 for Thursday. Friday, sunny and 80. Looks like that for Saturday as well. That is your weather for 7-3.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you, Gina. And the weather brought to you by Kyle James and all of his great staff members at 3 locations. Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care in Twin, and Jerome Urgent Care in Jerome. My goodness, everybody, welcome. Minor emergencies, major care at the Urgent Care. Stop in and see them today. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I started on Steve Scalise a little bit ago, and our prayers go out to this man, the GOP Majority Whip, Steve Scalise, upgraded to serious condition, but that bullet and that shooting did a horrendous amount of damage to Mr. Scalise, and we certainly want to keep him in our thoughts and prayers and wish him the very, very best. Do you play mind games? Have you ever played any mind games to kind of keep yourself sharp? Whether it's mathematical mind games or memory mind games or any kind of a mind game. I was reading a story the other day that, as we get older, the old brain cells kind of like either use it or lose it. And do you play any kind of a mind game to keep yourself sharp and keep your mind active? And I didn't even know I've been doing this over the many, many years, but I can see where it helps is I have a deal where, and believe me, I can't even remember some people's names, but I don't know why I can remember their telephone numbers. And Deanna will ask me a telephone number of somebody that maybe we haven't called in about a year, and I can sit there and think about it, and bang, it comes back to me. And I have learned how to memorize telephone numbers of various businesses and people and guests on this program, and it's really been an asset to me. What do you do, or what do you think about to keep your mind sharp? You know, we always say to the kids, well, you got to study this so you can do this and that and be a success the rest of your life. Well, all of a sudden when school's over and they hand you that rolled up piece of paper that said, you are smart, you graduated, what do you do to keep your mind sharp? Does anybody out there have any mind games that they like to play or concentrate on that they feel really help keep them the head of the pack? Memorizing telephone numbers is one thing, and I've done it for years just so I didn't have to pack that book around in my pocket all the time. But what are your thoughts on that? What kind of a mind game do you play to try to keep your mind sharp? Oh, and by the way, if you call, keep it clean. Keep it clean, please. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We missed a birthday yesterday on Sunday, and I want to acknowledge his birthday, one of the greatest guys of our lunch bunch, and that's Paul Peterson. Paul is a great artist, and I love his cartoons. He's got quite a wit, too, and he takes things that are said on this program and turns them into cartoons, and I keep every one of them. I've got them in a great big book and a great big binder, and I certainly appreciate that. So happy birthday yesterday to Paul Peterson, and we wish you many, many more. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Guess what Obama got? Yep, he got a lot of recognition. The city of Madison, Wisconsin, where I used to go to college back there, the city of Madison, Wisconsin, the capital of the Dairyland state, they just love Barack. Yeah, they do. And they have decided in Dane County, which Madison is in, that they are going to rename one of their big, ugly, gray government buildings the Barack Obama Hall, in tribute to Obama. And one of the county officials back there in Dane County was interviewed, and he just railed about how wonderful Barack was, why he accomplished so much for this country, why Barack Obama, was equivalent to John F. Kennedy. What? That stopped me in my tracks. Yeah, this guy compared Barack Obama to JFK in greatness. And so they're dedicating, and I saw a picture of this building, and it really is an ugly building. I'll tell you what, it's a big old kind of a square, rectangle, ugly architecture, gray government building. Now, the Barack Obama Hall. Okay. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, I can feel it. Got a twinge. I can feel it. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations where doing the right thing matters. Absolutely. And the right thing is to make sure they provide the best and the safest of tires for your driving. Excuse me for choking. Can't help that. They've got all your pickup and SUV tires, all your passenger car tires, and all the tires you need for your kind of driving. All you need to do is stop in and see these folks, and also ask them about a free pre-trip safety check. What is that? Well, it's a visual inspection of your tires and your wheel alignment for tire wear, front-end components, brake components, shocks and struts, battery, for including a loading test. And I'll tell you what, that is really going to help ensure you have a safe trip. You stop in and see them today. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. I think that building in Wisconsin is scheduled for demolition.
I don't know that to be the case, sir. Why did you say that?
It annoys me that we have to find some of the worst people to put their names on these buildings.
Well, it's interesting to me, Barack Obama being compared with the likes of John F. Kennedy. Really, here's a man, and I can say it now, he's out of office. He's not the president. He is just common Joe citizen, if you will. Tell me, sir, I got about a minute here. Tell me what great accomplishments Barack Obama did for America. Go ahead.
Well, he did pretty much what he had set out to do. I guess we have to give him credit for that.
In regards to what?
It was absolutely wrong.
Yeah. I can't honestly say that anything that man did was beneficial for America. I mean, whether it was Obamacare, that was a joke. Pardon me?
Say absolutely nothing he did was beneficial to America.
Well, I'll tell you what, even I'll say this much. Even Bill Clinton, when he was in office, I have to be honest, and I think some of the things that were done socially and politically for us while he was in office were of benefit to us. I can't find one thing that really was of great consequence to the American public from Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah, me either.
Well, let's dedicate another building to him. However, I can't tell you what kind of a building I'd like to dedicate, but it sits way behind the house.
Yeah, there's these little one-holers that we used to have behind the ranch house. Yeah.
We ought to put them all on a great big flatbed semi and send them back there. Hey, thanks for your call, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, have a good day. We'll dedicate some buildings, all right. You got to have a little fun, for heaven's sakes. Take that frown off your face. We're going to go to the news right now from CBS. Wheels, take it away, old buddy. I'll be back in 7 minutes. Okay, here we go. It's Monday. Oh, boy, is it Monday. Oh, man, give me a couple days off and then retrain me, man. I'll tell you what, I've made a lot of mistakes here this morning. What's going on? I don't know. I can't figure it out. Zeb at the ranch, and I'm Zeb Bell. I got that part right. Along with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Along with some of our great advertisers, like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Oh, my goodness sakes, you better call that number, Western Waste Services, 734-6969. Need a dumpster? Well, by golly, maybe you're cleaning out the garage. Maybe you're trying to clean out the basement, or in my case, this office. Holy smokes, there's a lot of stuff in here. Well, you can get dumpsters in various sizes. All you have to do is call them. They'll drop it off. You fill it up with your garbage, and then they will come and get it. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call 734-6969. Hey, I started telling you first hour about what's going on, of course, at the Rupert 4th of July celebration for this year. It is the 87th annual. Holy buckets. They're going to have great events like horse racing, and they're going to have a lot of entertainment on the Rupert Square, and they're going to have food booths. My favorite subject, food booths. My goodness sakes, you're going to love every minute of it. And, of course, carnival and, oh, my, all of this fun, and so much more. I'm just kind of lumping everything together here this morning so you don't miss it. June 28th through the 4th of July, Rupert's 4th of July celebration in Rupert. Holy moly. If you aren't there, we're all going to wonder what happened to you. Going to be a lot of fun. Caller, stand by. We'll be right with you, I promise. Stand by just for a minute. I want to remind everybody, too, about Ark Animal Hospital. We had Dr. Bill on our program last week, as a matter of fact, and we were talking about getting parvovirus vaccinations for your dogs and taking care of all the ticks and fleas and everything. Well, Ark Animal Hospital, warm hearts for cold noses. Big or small, they love them all. Dr. Bill, Dr. Liz, the whole crew, serving you and your animals. Call them or stop in. Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street in Hayburn, 678-1177. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. You know, when you were talking about a while ago about naming a building after Barack Obama.
Yes.
Kind of a dumb idea, but I did want to bring up something else about our area. The new school that Burley has built is John V. Evans Middle School, I think it is. But I'd like to say something about Governor Evans. I've always called him the governor because I thought he did a pretty fair job. But I am not of his political persuasion. But I did think a lot of him because he would talk to almost anyone about anything.
Oh, you know something?
I think he did a good job.
You know, Keith, I could not agree with you more. John Evans, when he was governor, was, I considered, a friend of mine, and was all through after he was governor. And I'll guarantee you that man, when I was injured really severely a couple of years ago, he called me to wish me well and everything. I had nothing but the utmost respect for that man. Yes, I differed in political philosophy. I was a conservative, he was a Democrat, but you know something? I absolutely respected the man, and I think the same way you did. John Evans was a great man, and I really enjoyed our time of visiting with each other.
Yeah, you know, and I never did really get into any political things with him, but I could sit and discuss things with him, and he might disagree, but he would say why he disagreed.
Yep, I agree.
He wasn't an obstinate person.
Yep. Absolutely. And well stated by you, my friend. I've got to get a commercial break in here, but you did very well. Thank you. That was good. That was good.
You bet.
All right, sir. Thank you. Hey, I know somebody else is really, really good and so nice to the community, and that's, of course, Joel Heward of Hanson Mortuary, along with his staff, his family, always serving you. They care. They're really dedicated to caring and serving you. When there's the passing of a loved one, I mean, the whole world just seems like it's up in the air. You don't know what needs to be done in a short period of time. Sit back, call their number, and they can help, and they will help. Always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. The number to call, 436-5636. I'll repeat it again. Write it down, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, serving you and your family. Oh, by the way, Wheels, jump on the microphone real quick. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Do we have our good words for the Silver State Stampede?
I do.
Well, let her roll, buddy. Thank you.
Nevada's oldest rodeo. The Silver State Stampede roars into Elko July 13th, 14th, and 15th for family entertainment at its best. This PRCA rodeo brings you the thrill of professional riders going head-to-head in one of the world's toughest sports, rodeo. The action kicks off Thursday with the annual kickoff party featuring mutton busting, Old West bronc riding, tri-tip dinner for just $10, and an extra dose of the world-famous Ring of Fear. Head into Friday and Saturday for PRCA rodeo action with the award-winning Wild Child Rodeo Clown, and dance the night away with the Jeff Palmer Band. So gather your friends and get your tickets today for the 2017 Silver State Stampede, July 13th through the 15th. And don't forget to wear your pink for Tough Enough to Wear Pink Night on Saturday. Family entertainment at its best with the 2017 Silver State Stampede at the Elko County Fairgrounds. You'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
There you go. Hey, that's going to be a ripping good time in Elko. Always is. And just just a few moments, I mean, tick, 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 we can count them away, we're going to have the lovely Miss Vicki on our program of Vicky's Country Garden in just a moment. Let's Ride. Hello, crew over there at Let's Ride. Located at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. This is where the fun is sold. Oh, my goodness, with the warm temperatures now, 85, 88, 90, 92 maybe. Ho, you better check on the watercraft. Have fun on the lakes, have fun on the rivers. They've got them right there at Let's Ride. And it's road bike season. Get your motor running and see great southern Idaho. Road bike season, and they've got some really great deals over there. And don't forget, always with a super service department to keep you going, and all the accessories at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Okay, I look forward to Mondays because I get a chance to talk to, she's an advertiser on our program, but she's also a very good friend. And that's, of course, the lovely Miss Vicki at Vicky's Country Garden. Good morning, Vicki. How are you?
I'm just fine, Zeb, on this nice, almost summer day. Tomorrow's summer.
Yeah. No, isn't it Wednesday?
Well, no, it's tomorrow at 10:30 at night is when summer begins.
Well, I'll be sleeping, so I'm going to celebrate summer on Wednesday.
There you go. That'll
Okay.
work.
How you doing, anyway?
Hey, we're doing just great. Just getting ready for summer and the 4th of July and all of that good stuff, helping people get their yards put together and we got new bark in, we got all kinds of stuff. So if you're landscaping or whatever, we can pretty much step in and help you.
Well, just like the old Steve Allen Tonight Show, letters. We've got letters. We've got lots and lots of letters for the lovely Miss Vicki.
There we go.
This next letter is kind of what we've had in the past, but I didn't want to just oversee it and throw it away. I thought I'd mention it. A lady wrote in and she says, hot. It's going to start getting hot. What do I do to protect my flowers?
Well, don't water them during the middle of the day. Don't, especially if you're sprinkling. You can sunburn leaves. You can spot the flowers up and that type of thing. It's always best to either do it early mornings, water nice when it's nice and cool, early mornings, or in the evenings. I like evenings because the plants have a chance to absorb all their moisture. They can get fully hydrated over the night and be ready for the heat in the morning when it comes in.
Okay. Now, Deanne, she sometimes waters in the morning and sometimes at night, or should you water at both times?
Well, it kind of depends on your soil. If you have a real sandy soil and you've got a real hot area, then you might want to water them a little bit in the morning and then a nice soak at night. But like I say, gardens and things like that do not do real well with middle-of-the-day watering, because especially with your big squash leaves and pumpkin leaves, the moisture sets on them, and that's when you start getting powdery mildew starting to show up.
Okay. Now, we got another letter here, and this, I don't know if it's from a man or a woman. It just says basically, and I'm going to paraphrase some of it, Dear Zeb, please ask Vicki at Vicky's Country Garden about gardens and the daily care of gardens. And towards the end of the letter, this person writes, what basically do I need to do every day with my garden?
Well, you need to go out. For starters, you need to keep as many of the weeds out as you possibly can. They have a tendency to they suck up more of your moisture and your nutrients, your fertilizers and that, because they're a faster grower and they just really they can really deplete your soil. So keep the weeds knocked down so the plants have a chance at whatever nutrient and moisture and that is there. It's a good time. Every morning when it's nice and cool, go out, just look at the plants. They should be standing up. They should be looking nice and fresh. If they're not, you've got a problem. Can be fungus starting to show up if the leaves are curling or rolling. You look for bugs at that time of the morning, and then you know kind of what you kind of get an idea as to what you have to do. but you can check for moisture in the ground, all of that type of thing. But the main thing is to kind of go through, get the weeds out, and look at your plants, look at your garden, and see if the plants are standing up, looking nice and healthy, nice and green, so you know they've had enough fertilizer, there's no bugs eating on them, there's no fungus working on them, you know, and that type of thing. And if there is something going on, then you assess the damage and decide what plan of attack you go after at that point.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you've got to be on guard 24/7 protecting your garden, isn't it?
Basically, you need to be very aware. If you're going to have a good, productive garden, then you need to be checking it. You need to be watching it. It's not one of those things you plant in the spring and you harvest in the fall. It takes work. It takes dedication to keep a garden in good shape. And if you just do it, you know, of a morning or at least 3 or 4 times a week, go out and take a good look at everything, you'll stay ahead of problems, and they won't get the best of you at that point.
Okay. Now, we got a letter here from a gentleman in Burley, and he says basically he's only grown a garden for the last couple of years, and he still has the question. Everybody talks about growing a garden, planting a garden, but they never really talk about harvesting a garden as to when some of the various crops that are planted, like tomatoes and cabbage and everything, are ready to be drawn out of the soil. How would you respond to that?
Well, you kind of have to, basically have a little knowledge of what how long it takes for your plants to mature. You can, like with the early type crops, your peas and stuff, where you can see the peas when they start to mature. Just a matter of picking a few of them and testing them and saying, yep, they're ready to pick. Radishes, that type of thing. Keep a close eye on those because they mature real fast, and so you want to plant small amounts of them, utilize them, and then plant more because they do come up and then they mature quite fast, and then you've lost them if you don't keep an eye on them. As far as cabbages and that type of thing, you have some of your early cabbages, and you basically look at the cabbage and look at the size of it. If it's an early cabbage, it's going to be a smaller head. If it's a late cabbage, if you've bought a late flat Dutch or an OS Cross or some of the later varieties, they're going to be a bigger cabbage, and they go later into the fall. Most cabbages and stuff don't mature out until towards the end of summer, early fall, before they start to mature, the early ones, and then the later ones can go clear in. You want to be careful when they start to mature and not hit them in the middle of the day with some cold water. That can cause them to crack.
Okay.
Potatoes, again, that's something that you got to kind of know when you planted them and kind of give an idea. It depends on how big of potatoes you want to pick. If they start, you want to wait for them to bloom good, and then you can always kind of dig down to the side and see what the size of the potatoes are doing. Tomatoes, usually, again, you've got early tomatoes, midsummer, and late tomatoes. Just kind of watch your plants. If you get a good set on and they're not ripening, back the water off of them and start trimming them back. Don't let them just keep growing and keep blooming. You can kind of make them start to ripen by taking the water back off of them and kind of scaring them a little bit and making them think they're going to die.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt a tomato to dry out to a light wilt and then water it back up again.
Okay. Now, I thought this was an interesting letter because I'm sure this is the case with a lot of people. This person writes in and says, I have very few shade trees in my yard, none of which give any shade to my house. How close to the house should I plant a tree? That's a good question.
Well, it is, and the thing is you've got to be really careful with trees being planted too close to your house for the simple fact that they get into the eaves, they get into the roof, and then you start getting damage on your house. It depends on the size of a tree, depends on just look at people need, when they're planting trees, they need to look at the mature size. It'll usually tell you they're going to get 25 foot tall with a 25-foot spread. So at that point in time, if you stick them 5 feet away from your house, that tree is going to be into your house and nothing flat.
Right.
And you can use them for shade, but like at different times of where the sun's going to be hitting. If you've got a window that you want to have some shade and it's on the west side, kind of watch and see when the sun gets down towards hitting that window, then put a tree out far enough to where the sun drops behind that tree and kind of shades your window. I don't like to see trees of any kind, pine trees or any big tree, planted right up next to the house, because you've got roots that get into your foundation, limbs that get into your, into your shingles and your roof and that type of thing, and can cause some major damage, especially in windstorms.
Mm-hmm.
So keep them out away from the house so they can perform the way they should do, but just read on your plants, on your trees before you plant. Find out how big they're going to get, how wide they're going to get, and figure accordingly at that point in time. Put them far enough away they're not going to grow into your bedroom window.
No. Okay. Okay. Now I got time for one more letter, and this one is from a lady that has never grown any flowers before, and she said, I don't know the first thing about flowers. What kinds and types of flowers are the best grown here in southern Idaho?
Well, you have to learn the difference between a perennial and an annual. An annual is one you plant every year. Those give you the most prolific flowers all summer long. They give you the most color. Perennials are very good to have in your yard. They bloom at different times. Usually there's not a lot of them that bloom all summer long without a little bit of work done on them. But they do come back every year. Some bloom early in the spring, some bloom in the summer, some bloom in the fall. But if you want a constant coloring, petunias love the hot sun. They do real well here. Geraniums handle the hot sun. They do real well here. These are all annuals that are going to give you a real bounce of color and give you that bright, prolific color that everybody seems to like. Zinnias are another one that gives a lot of color. Shaded areas, pansies, that's the best place to put pansies, is in the shade, and they'll bloom all summer long. Just kind of have to know where you're putting them, and you have to read on your plants again and find out if they want full sun, if they want shade, partial shade, that type of a thing.
Okay. Boy, you sure know everything. Now, what about specials over there at Vicky's Country Garden? What's going on? We're just days away from the 4th of July.
Well, we are, and we still have a lot of bedding plants. They're all on 25% off. Our annuals, the annual bedding plants are on, like the petunias, geraniums, Gabbera daisies, those kind of things are all on 25% off. So if you're redoing pots or if you're needing color spots in your yard, we've got lots of that. Got some really good new perennials that are in. Our fruit trees are now 20% off if you're wanting to put fruit trees in your yard. But don't put them up right close to your house. Put them out away so they don't make a mess in your yard. And we've got a full line of bark and rock. If you're finishing off some flower beds and that, we've got all the different bark and rock that you would possibly need. So pretty much got everything that everybody's going to be needing to get ready for the 4th. Lots of color and lots of ground cover and all the weed mat. And then for your gardens, we've got all the sprays also, the insecticides, fungicides, and all those good things.
I would imagine that with the 4th of July falling on a Tuesday this year, that a lot of people are going to take that extra day in between Sunday and Tuesday and take Monday off, 4-day weekend, and a lot of work's going to be done at home. I bet you're going to be busy then, aren't you?
We could. A lot of people do their bark and rock and stuff right there at the last, so it's fresh and looks just awesome, if they're having a big barbecue or something to that effect. So, and we will have a full supply of all that. I have available delivery. If anybody can't haul it themselves, we can have it delivered for them, different things like that. So, but yeah, hopefully we'll see everybody and we'll get everybody's yards all fancied up for the 4th.
Okay, now, Vicki, we need to tell everybody, A, where you're located, easiest way to find you, and B, the times that you're going to be open now.
Okay, we are on the Burley-Paul Highway. You know where West Minico is. If you're coming from Burley, we're just before you get to West Minico. You can't really miss us. We're just right there on the Burley-Paul Highway, and our times are 9 to 6 right now. As the season goes on and people have got their yards planted, we'll probably be changing some hours. But right now, we're 9 to 6, Monday through Friday, and Saturdays we're going to be here from like 10 to 6, and Sundays we're going to be open another Sunday or two, depending on how it goes. If it slows down, we'll be closing on Sundays probably within a couple of weeks. But other than that, we're here, and if we need other special times, just call and make arrangements with me.
Okay.
I can pretty much meet you, make it do to where it fits your schedule too. So
this lady is such a nice lady, and I'm honored to have her on my program. Vicki at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. And you have a great day, and I'll talk to you next Monday.
all righty, Zeb, you enjoy the heat, and it's supposed to cool down on Wednesday.
All right, I will. Thanks, Vicki.
I'd wait until the middle of the week. It's going to be a little cooler.
Okay, well, I'll take your advice. Have a great day. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Zeb.
All right. Bye-bye. Nice lady. I really enjoy her. Oh, we're going to have our next guest on the program momentarily. We're going to have attorney with the Pacific Legal Foundation, and we'll get to that momentarily. But right now, I'd like to remind you about the professionals serving you, and that's Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. You really shouldn't put those on the back burner. You need to make sure that you address those issues for your family, your business, etc., and your protection. So please contact them today, 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. They are very dedicated and accessible to serving you, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Call them today, 436-4424. Wheels, did you say something?
I didn't, sir. Hold up.
Oh, okay. Do we have our guest on the phone? I think he's talking to her right now. And in just a moment, we're going to talk to the Pacific Legal Foundation attorney, Christina Martin. Is she there, Wheels? Is Wheels there? I think everybody's gone. Anyway, while I'm waiting, I also want to remind you about Autumn Haven and the wonderful folks over there serving family members that just might need that little bit of extra help every day. And it's the only locally owned and operated assisted living facility in the Mini-Cassia area. And they urge you to stop by, visit anytime, take a tour, and check them out. They make every effort to make Autumn Haven the best place. Number to call, find out more, 436-3200. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center at 924 Christian Way in Rupert. And they get their residents involved in so many things going on, like what the upcoming 4th of July at Rupert with the activities on the square and the parade and everything. Well, they make every effort to make Autumn Haven the best place. They're small compared to some, but with a bigger heart than most. Autumn Haven Assisted Living Center. Wheels, do we have our guest on the phone ready to go?
Yes, sir, we do.
All right, thank you. Right now, we're going to talk to a lady I don't think has been on this program before, so we'll give her a nice welcome. Attorney with the Pacific Legal Foundation, a group that I absolutely think is one of the great groups of attorneys around this country of the United States. Christina Martin, good morning. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show.
What in the world is going on with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service? How dare we think that they're not doing all they can to take animals and species off the endangered species list? Do you mean to insinuate that they, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, might actually be dragging their feet when it comes to the golden parakeet? Tell us more.
Actually, when it comes to any species that needs to be downlisted or delisted, they really do seem to drag their feet. We at the Pacific Legal Foundation have had to sue them on many occasions when a species recovers to get them to recognize the improvement of the species. With the golden parakeet, they're just blatantly violating the law. They refuse to do a status review on the bird, and there's never been one, even though federal law requires it. And now our client submitted a petition more than 2 years ago asking for the golden parakeet to be delisted because it was making it harder for breeders to get do a good job breeding these birds and get a nice, diverse population of these birds here in the United States. They're not native to the United States, by the way. And the federal government just keeps blowing through deadlines, and now they're asking for, for the clients to wait yet another year. It's really unbelievable. They just they don't seem to follow the requirements of the Endangered Species Act. They think that other people have to, but apparently the Fish and Wildlife Service does not.
Well, let me ask you this. Who, in your opinion, is dragging their feet? Who is the motivating source to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service saying, don't worry about those people. We're just going to drag our feet and delay more time. Who and why would they be doing this?
I don't know how things work internally at the Fish and Wildlife Service, but I will say that they have refused to prioritize deregulating, and I find it quite unbelievable because the president signed an executive order early on at the beginning of his administration saying that for every new regulation that imposes costs, the federal government needs to get rid of 2 regulations that impose costs. Now, presumably, the Fish and Wildlife Service wants to pass some more regulations because that's what they do. And so one would think that they would embrace deregulating the golden parakeet, which has recovered from somewhere near 1 to 2,000 of these birds in Brazil to apparently more than 10,000 now. And it would benefit the bird to delist it because breeders here in the United States and elsewhere are actually helping recovery efforts because they, the more of these birds you breed, the more the price for them drops, and then the incentive to go out and capture the birds from their native habitat disappears. But by dragging their feet and imposing these onerous permit requirements on breeders here in the United States, they are causing they're really causing this process to be slowed down unnecessarily. So one would think if there's ever an incentive to delist, that would be the case here. And yet they don't, they're not prioritizing this. Although, it's funny, in their letter responding to our notice, the federal government said they considered it a priority to downlist the golden parakeet. Well, rather to review the petition to delist or create an exception to the permit requirements here in the United States. And yet, if it's a priority, one would think they would have already done it, or that they would do it very soon. Instead, they asked for until the end of September 2018.
Now, right there is my question. There is a 5-letter word that seems to motivate and instigate problems all over the world, and that 5-letter word is money. Money, the root of many evils. Who is putting money in their pocket over the delay from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife?
Well, I don't know. I mean, taxpayers are obviously paying them to do a job. And I don't know why they drag their feet on this. I will say they're constantly sued by the environmental groups, and so that really does genuinely slow down their efforts. I think that there's a serious problem, and the Endangered Species Act is in serious need of reform. But if the federal government can't do the requirement of the law, which is to review these species and to respond to petitions in a timely manner, they can't even come close to meeting these deadlines.
Well, it's
It took, we recently got the manatee downlisted here from endangered to threatened, and it took 2 lawsuits and the threat of a 3rd lawsuit to get them to do what their own experts admitted they should do a decade ago.
Yeah. In
the meantime, the population, doubled from that time, and that's how much it took just to get them to do their job. Now, here we have a situation where it's not even a native species, and they've never done a review of the species, and yet they continue to require bird breeders to pay money and wait to get these permits approved. It's a lengthy process, and it's very difficult to do to get an approval for these birds to be traded across state lines, and it's really limiting their ability to protect these species. So it's actually doing the opposite of what the Endangered Species Act is meant to do, which is to protect and conserve species. And here it's actually delaying any kind of conservation efforts that can be done here in the United States. So, I mean, I think the bird is recovered, but even still, there's no reason to have this permit requirement, even if it hadn't recovered.
And I want to stress the fact that after I read your article, it sounds to me like with these private breeders of these birds that have helped so much in contributing to the increased numbers, you would think that the environmentalists and you would think all the powers that be would say, hey, God bless these people. They jumped in, they helped the lowering numbers of this species, and now they're back to literally thousands. Let's just take them off the endangered species list and all as well. But environmentalists, once they get something on their list, whether it's wolves, whether it's parakeets, they won't let the issue drop.
That's right. They always say, well, we need to err on the side of precaution. But I mean, they've completely missed the point of the Endangered Species Act, which is to err on the side of caution. That's why not only endangered species, but also threatened species are protected. And there's only a limited amount of resources for our country to support conservation efforts of endangered and threatened species. The federal government only has so many tax dollars. And yet environmentalists, too often, I won't say always, some of them I think do recognize the importance of downlisting when a species has recovered. But some environmentalists just want to keep the species on the list forever. And that really takes money away from those species that most need conservation, that most need the assistance.
What about the money that's spent by these organizations? The environmentalists, they seem almost like they get a free ride in the court system. And Wheels, you're going to have to ride the gain on the feedback, please, if you would. But they seem like they get a free ride through the court system, and everybody else has to pay through the nose. They get a free ride. How does that work?
Well, the Endangered Species Act has a provision that if you sue and enforce the requirements of the law, there's certain provisions for, say, attorney fees. And so some of these groups do sue and they win and they get the government to do what they want, or they sue and the government settles and pays anyway. They include that in a payout. It is true that these environmentalist groups tend to get quite a lot of money as compared to, say, non-environmentalist groups that sue under the Endangered Species Act. Right. It does seem that the federal government has been more friendly towards lawsuits from environmentalists, but I can't really say that with any sort of certainty. I don't know, but that is, I think that's a pretty popular perception, and I think that probably comes from there may be some truth to it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Let me ask you this as we tend to wrap this segment up, Christina. What about other cases of this nature that are pending or that you may be aware of as to where they're going to keep these animals or bird species, etc., on the list? Are you aware of anything else looming on the horizon?
Yeah, we have several lawsuits, and it's I'm trying to think of what the one is that I linked to in my blog post. And actually, your listeners can check out that blog post at blog.pacificlegal.org. And we always have some of these lawsuits pending where they need to downlist or delist. And I linked to a few in my golden parakeet blog post. So it's a continuous process, and unfortunately, we often have to sue just to get the government to do a status review. And then if that status review, their own experts say the species should be downlisted or delisted, then we have to sue again to get them to act on that. And it's outrageous that they don't follow the law, but then they require, you and me and regular people to follow the same law, the same Endangered Species Act. They're requiring people to abide by. They're tying up people's property rights and that sort of thing, but they don't feel that they have to follow the same rules about, doing status reviews and delisting and downlisting.
Well, and what you're saying, I followed with religious interest the case of the kangaroo rat in California. A farmer out working his ground and ran over a kangaroo rat, and his whole world was thrown in turmoil, and quite frankly, this farmer went out of business. I mean, the idiocy that's going on in this country over endangered species or such that they deem endangered is killing people that are trying to remain solvent and in business.
Yeah, and it's just so often counterproductive. Rather than punishing a farmer for having a kangaroo rat on his property, they should have said, hey, you've got good habitat. Let's reward you for having habitat that would attract a kangaroo rat. Rather than punishing him, he should be getting accolades for, and yes, one got hurt, but presumably if there was one, there might be others on his property. Maybe we should look at what's beneficial, and the government can buy that part of the property to conserve the species habitat or give a tax break or something. But instead, they come down at it from completely the wrong angle. It's funny that you mentioned that farmer, because here in Florida a few years ago, they were threatening surfers for getting within 5 football fields of a particular protected whale.
Oh, my.
5 football fields. How on earth would they know whether that whale was nearby, let alone that it was an endangered whale? And yet they were threatening to prosecute surfers.
And to go one step further, I'm sure you're aware of the case in California over the Delhi fly. A filthy fly that hung around garbage dumps and garbage that was left out by people that weren't taking care of their property, and that fly was protected by the enviros. I mean, we've got to think of people and sanitation and healthy conditions first, not a fly.
Well, I think it's absolutely right that you have to think of people first, and we're all for protecting the environment, but it has to be reasonable. It has to make sense. And I think some of these, just like this case here demonstrates, some of these environmental protections are counterproductive. In this case, they're punishing the people who are actually assisting in conservation in the best way that they can from this far away in the United States. They're breeding birds and driving down the price of breeding these birds. And yet the government's making it harder for them to get to get different birds and get a genetically diverse breeding program going on, and that it doesn't make any sense. And so many of these regulations need reform.
And let me ask you one final thought here. Do you see a light at the end of the tunnel with this current administration and common sense prevailing for at least 4 years?
Well, I don't know. It's too soon to say, really. I was pretty surprised by the response that they consider this a priority, and yet they want more than a year to address it. They're already 12 months late when we sent the notice. 12 months late. They had 1 year to complete the study. 2 years later, we sent a letter warning that we would sue, and now they're asking for, on top of that, another year and a half from the statutorily required amount of time. So 2.5 extra years to do what should be done in less than 12 months is outrageous. So I don't know if they just haven't got things figured out on that end yet, or if the Endangered Species Act genuinely needs reform in that area too. But I do think that there's a great potential that they could embrace deregulation. They could embrace downlisting and delisting, particularly under this executive order. We haven't seen that yet, but I hope that the administration does turn that around.
Absolutely. You are welcome back on this program anytime. Staff attorney for Pacific Legal Foundation, Christina Martin. Excellent job this morning. God bless, and please come back soon. Thank you. The Endangered Species Act, in my opinion, is absolutely controlled by overpaid idiots, and something's got to change. Human beings are suffering, and the kangaroo rats and the flies are winning. It's ridiculous. Time for a weather forecast. And the weather forecast is, whoops, knocked the microphone over almost. That's not good, Zeb. That's not good. Weather forecast brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, CPAs. They've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years with the very best of tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, retirement planning, and so much more. I mean, these are the pros. These are the people you need to get a hold of. If you're starting a business or maybe changing from a partnership to a corporation or hiring more employees, you get a hold of them today. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, CPAs with offices in Burley and Rupert. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Well, we're getting ready to saddle up and ride again for the weekend. Here is what we can expect as far as the weather is concerned. Today, looking at partly cloudy skies, really not much of a wind to speak of. Temperatures reaching up to about 90 degrees for today. Tonight, low of 60. Tomorrow, sunny skies. Winds are going to be picking up to about 14 miles an hour out of the west. High of 93 with an overnight low of 62. Partly cloudy, 86 for Wednesday. Then it looks like we're going to be cooling off as we get into the weekend. Looks like sunny skies, 82 for Thursday. Friday, sunny and 80. Looks like that for Saturday as well. That is your weather for 7th.
Brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. I know Leiden Crane really well. He's fluent in Spanish and can offer any of the services in Spanish at Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. CPAs, offices at 1710 Overland and Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. Thank you for sponsoring our weather. Calls are welcome and appreciated right now. I wish you'd give me a jingle. I'd like to talk to you. Last hour in the 8 o'clock hour, pardon me. We had a interesting conversation with Chris Hondo called, and we were talking about maybe the rejuvenation and the remake or the redistribution of many of the old shows on TV, like could be redone, like Westerns, maybe a redo of Bonanza, maybe a redo of Cheyenne, maybe a redo of The Rifleman. And some of the points, because of this severely politically correct society today, would those shows be able to be produced and be remade for television viewing? The Rifleman, centered around a special kind of a gun and its use of the gun to keep the peace. Cheyenne, would there be a lot of criticism, I'm asking, due to the fact of the Cheyenne terminology, which refers to one of our Indian tribes, etc.? Would that be allowed today? Or let's talk about Maverick. The brothers Maverick, Bart and Brett, were gamblers for a living. Would that be on TV today, being possibly not politically correct? Or how about Have Gun Will Travel? Here was a guy that was hired out of San Francisco to solve problems, and yes, the use of a gun probably in most cases was necessary. Those are some of the old Western shows that come to mind. Maybe you've got a couple you'd like to throw in. But due to the severe political correctness of today, would they possibly be allowed or accepted on TV? Give me your thoughts. Give me maybe some other alternatives. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning. I'm like you. I'm kind of doubting that most of those shows would make it, even though they had good moral underlying stories.
And the bad guys always lost, didn't they? Hello, caller?
I'm on a darn cell phone.
Oh,
I apologize.
no, that's all right. But your point is so well taken. And the good always prevailed in the end, and it gave, I think, a good storyline to our youth. What are your thoughts about that?
I think so, and it's kind of interesting that I'm scared that that's the reason that they would not allow them to be on, more so than the fact that they were centered around the rifle or anything like that.
Let me ask you quickly, do you have a family of young children? How old are your children?
Children are in their 20s, and I have grandchildren now.
Okay, well, that's still good for you to answer this. What about the filthy, and I'm going to use that word, filthy sitcoms of today, talking about transgenderism, talking about homosexuality, talking about drug use and all this? I think they're absolutely destitute of any viewing quality whatsoever. What are your thoughts?
I'm in agreement with you 100%. I wouldn't waste my time watching one of those shows if I was in a coma.
Well, I agree with you. But do you think in general that if we tried to push for some of the remakes of some of the good old Westerns with some family values, would it work or would it not?
Well, I think it would be great for us, but I think you're right. I think they would single in on the items of guns and the stuff like that instead of reflecting on it in a positive way, and I think they would take it to the extreme like they do a lot of things.
You know, I really appreciate your call. Thank you very, very much. Have a good day. Thank you.
You too.
All right, sir. You know, I look back at the old Westerns, and people are going to say, well, yeah, they wore guns. Oh, man, yeah. There was quick draws in the middle of the street. Or maybe they had to protect themselves from Indian raids. Oh, my goodness, we can't show that today. Why, the Sioux, the Cherokee, and the Blackfoot might all get band together, and they'll attack our network office. We can't do that. Why not? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Mary and I are hardcore Western watchers.
Okay.
We watch 342 a lot. Yesterday, I happened to hit 343, and there was a hardcore porno on.
Oh, my.
The Encore channel. I couldn't believe it, what went on there.
Uh-huh.
This is a disgrace.
Well, what they're having on nightly prime time on the networks, whether it's CBS, NBC, or ABC, is absolutely, it's filthy. And, you know, they've got away with decent programs, with good winning over bad, ugly not prevailing in society. They've got away from that. And quite frankly, some of the garbage that they put on television right now is not worth even turning on the TV set.
Well, we watch Cheyenne, we watch Laramie.
Yep.
That's about these are Westerns about the only channels that you can get some decent stuff on anymore. The rest is garbage.
And you would think, Tony, that the networks of today would understand that, because look at the resurgence. You mentioned Channel 342 on the dish, and you mentioned another one I mentioned, Channel 259. Good, wholesome viewing of the old Westerns, so there is a demand for it out there.
Well, yeah, we watch the Virginian a lot.
Yeah.
We've got all those channels marked down.
Yep.
But, you know, you have to understand who the heck is running these programmings, who's running these TV stations. They're probably all a bunch of liberals.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you probably got that right. Hey, my dear friend, thank you for calling back again. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. You know, really, Maverick, on Sunday night, we used to watch all the Westerns that were on. You know, we'd watch Disney, and then we'd watch Bonanza. And then, of course, I think it was on Tuesday night, we'd watch Cheyenne. Caller, real quick, I've only got a minute left, real fast.
Okay, I don't have much to say except these liberal people that control the sponsors will put a stop to anything that's decent. And I think it is so wrong that I don't know what to do about it.
Well, you can keep voicing your opinion just like Tony did and others have done. I just think that programming that shows good prevailing over evil and some of the things that were prevailed upon in the Old West, we need to bring them back. I appreciate it. And Keith, thank you so much for your call.
Yeah, Tony, he's my main man. I listen to all the stuff he does.
Okay. Hey, thanks for calling back. Appreciate it. I'm going to take a little break right now and let the big boys from CBS come in and kind of trash everything we've put together, and we'll be back in about 7 minutes. Don't go away. Oh, my. Take a look outside. Wispy clouds passing overhead. Going to be a nice day. Good morning, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service today at 734-6969. Right now, I'm going to ask old Wheels over at our station if we could hear a few good moments of the Silver State Stampede. Wheels, are you there, buddy?
I am, sir. Gina just wasn't able to load it for this hour. I apologize.
Okay, it's not ready to go?
No.
Okay, see if you can get that for me if you would. I'd appreciate it. And during the interim right now, we are very fortunate to have as a guest on my program a lady that I've known for a long time. Her and her husband are 2 of the nicest people, and they're part of the Oregon Trail Muzzleloaders, and they're going to have their great big rendezvous coming up this weekend. Good morning, Mitzi Ramsey. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb Bell. And you know, you don't have to go long time.
Well, it was a long time.
You're so old, Zeb.
Listen, you're a lot younger than I am, but I'll tell you what, it's really a treat to have you on the program. And you're in Denver, Colorado right now, aren't you?
Well, I am looking at the beautiful mountains as we speak, yes.
Have they turned blue?
No, they're pretty white.
Okay. Anyhow, you've got a great big rendezvous coming up this next weekend up at Albion. Give me kind of a general synopsis of what's going to happen.
Well, this is Oregon Trail Muzzleloaders 36th rendezvous. Of course, it's been in different locations. The last few years we've had it in Albion. Jeff and Tammy Chatburn have just graciously let us use their property, which is gorgeous. So anybody that wants to come up, if they know where Chatburns live, you know, just come on up. But if not, go through Albion, go to, and I apologize for the store, I don't know the name, but the store that is out of town, make the first left at the T, make another left, and just follow the road.
Okay.
Once you get up there, we are going to be shooting muzzle loaders, rifles, smooth bores, flintlocks, pistols, throwing some knife and hawk, longbows, and then we will even have a cannon there that Larry Metler is going to bring up and shoot off some cannonballs.
Oh, my goodness. You know, I've got to tell you, you folks really have a good time. Give us the reason why. Why are we celebrating the old mountain men and doing these kind of rendezvous? What's the big fascination?
You know, Zeb, it's just nice to get back to history. We love to teach people about how it was. So when you come up there, slowly over the years it's gotten away from absolute canvas and that, but we're trying to show people what it was like pre-1840, you know, how they did things without the plastic and the technology, and it's just amazing to walk through. We have many people that still 100% pre-1840, and just see how people lived back then. We love to talk to people to tell them, you know, why we do it this way, and it's just people have kind of gotten away from the history, and we're trying to just keep it alive.
I agree.
Even though it's just a week a year, but, you know, we're trying to keep it alive.
Let me ask you this. Do you have to go through, like, the old history books, or are there diaries or whatever to kind of find out exactly what they did, what they wore, how they lived? How do you know all this stuff?
You know, I hate to say I have not, but I am lucky to have a husband that reads every book that's available, and yeah, he is wonderful to read them and tell me, you know, no, honey, you can't have zippers in those shoes. You got to have, you know, lace ties. And there's many people in the clubs that it's just a fascination, and they read and study. Or we attend other rendezvous and see what it's like. You know, they might have a different outlook on what, you know, we should be wearing. And there's also different types of people, like there's the Renaissance people that will come, and there's still another, you know, aspect of it, but there's still history. You know, the old time.
You know, the old days back in the Mountain Man era, life was pretty doggone hard, and everything they had to work for. Does it make you appreciate more of what you have today?
Oh, Deb, it's yes, very much so. You know, and unfortunately, like I say, some of us take our trailers up there because we just, you know, we're getting up to the age where it's hard to get down on the cot and sleep on the floor and cut the firewood in the morning before you can cook breakfast. But yeah, it so is appreciative when we get home. But then it also makes us think, you know, sometimes we have too much at home, and we need to get back to that a little bit.
Yeah.
In our everyday life.
I agree. Now, let's talk a little bit about the guns. I mean, the old muzzle loaders. I'm infatuated with these guns because I tell you what, I went up to one of your camps one time, and I was just absolutely taken aback as to the realism. Where do you find these guns? Do companies process these? I mean, how do you go about finding all these weapons?
You know, they still process them, and it's amazing as you talk to people about the rendezvous. They'll go, "Oh yeah, I've got a muzzle loader." Well, then why don't you bring it up and, you know, come play with us, you know, for the weekend? You can buy them pretty much almost anywhere. Cabela's, I hate to, you know, say certain stores, but yeah, they're available everywhere.
Now, is George Montgomery going to be there?
We have people in our club that actually, from scratch, will, you know, make one.
Oh my goodness! Is George Montgomery going to be there?
You know, I have not talked to George and Glenn, but you know they live right there. I'm sure they'll pop up for a day or two.
I have a story that lingers in my history about him handing me a great big Hawken gun, and it was pretty supercharged with powder, and I think I ended up on the back end of my Wranglers.
I do believe I was there at that time, yeah.
Well, tell us about some of the events.
Took care of you after that, though.
Yeah, you did, I know. Tell us a little bit about some of the events that are going to take place for the whole family up at the Muzzleloaders Rendezvous in Albion.
You know, we are so family-oriented. We have potluck on Friday night. We do knife and hawk games on Saturday night, along with our council fire. We love having kids up there. We've got a stand pile that we've buried money and prizes and stuff for them just to sit and play in all day. We also have a cannon shoot, not a cannon shoot, excuse me, a candy cannon shoot. And it shoots out candy, and the kids are just ecstatic that, you know, they go and run and try and find all the candy that it's shot out. We do long bows. It's great to see the little kids and their little bows out there trying to shoot with the adults.
Right.
And it's just family-oriented. The whole weekend is just around the family.
You know, I want to talk a little bit about the clothing again, if we could. I mean, I know Rick is really into the deer skins and everything. Where do you get your patterns? How do you figure out how they actually sewed the clothing back in the old days, well over almost 200 years ago?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting. Rick has made many leather pants for people, or helped them. You know, I mean, he makes them kind of finish it so that they learn. But they'll just take an old pair of their Wranglers that, you know, they're not wearing anymore and cut them out, and that's their pattern for their pants.
Wow.
Granted, you can get online and, you know, of course, get patterns that are actual patterns for the shirts, capotes. The capotes are what we wear for our coats. They're just a wool long coat. And really, it's just if you feel safe enough to start cutting into some leather and some wool, they're very simple patterns. But if not, yeah, there's many patterns out there for you to cut up just like normal and sew them up.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that has always bothered me is I can't stand to have cold feet in the wintertime. How in the world did the Indians and the mountain men of years gone by keep their feet warm in those moccasins?
You know, there's always wool or something inside them, or it's amazing what that wool will do if you put it around your feet. And they were tough. Let me tell you, they were tough back then. A lot tougher than I am now. I mean, I like my cushions, in my shoes, but yeah, they'll put wool around them. They'll put fleece around them inside. Anything to keep that wet and ice off from them.
Now, do you have kind of a separated camp? And when I say separated, kind of an old, the way it really was back almost 200 years ago, and then a modern day? Do you kind of really try to show how it was in one separate camp?
We do, and that's what I said right at the first. We have a handful of people that still just 100% do pre-1840, and it is amazing to go through their camp. You don't see anything. They start their fires even with flint and steel, and they love to show people. I mean, if anybody comes down, just go walk in their camp and ask them, show me how you do it, because they are so willing to just open up and anything you want to see, or they love to give them history lessons, I guess.
I got to be honest with you that if I'm really cold and if I'm really in a hurry, I'm not going to be the good old muzzle loader with the flint and the steel. I'm getting out some fire starter liquid and a match, and I'm going to cheat.
Now, Zeb, you need to come up and we need to just show you just as quick the other way.
The kids need to learn that, though, don't they? There's a lot of very educational values for children up there, and that's why it's a good event for the whole family.
It is. And the kids even come over and do the fire starting and, just to teach them, how to hit that flint so that it'll make that spark, and they're just amazed at how quickly they can get a fire going.
Now, what about new people that might really want to get involved? They're not members and they'd like to learn. What's the easiest way to tell them that they can be a part of this great big event?
All they have to do is contact one of us, come up to the rendezvous. We will get them all hooked up. Granted, it takes a little while to get all of your guns and all of your clothing, and you do not have to come up 100% pre-1840 to participate with us.
Okay.
We meet every first Wednesday at the McGregor Building at the Rupert Fairgrounds at 7:30. They're welcome to come to a meeting or give us a call. Our home number is 679-7603. And we will hook you up.
I got to tell you that I have nothing but respect for you and Rick primarily because he has really dedicated his life into showing what it was like in the pre-1840s. And, man, your husband is amazing with his knowledge on this, and he'll share that with anybody.
Oh, he loves to share it with anybody. In fact, if he hears of the Idaho history, that the fourth graders do, he loves to just contact them and say, can I come and demonstrate? It's not just Rick. There's many in our club that love to do it, and we've got a lot of new people that are going with him and learning, and we just love to show and share.
What about all the nicknames? I would be amiss if I didn't ask you, how in the world do they come up with all the nicknames for the various members?
It's kind of fun because there's some members that have been there for the entire 36 years that do not have a name. But it's usually you do something silly, you do something out of the ordinary, you do something wrong, and if somebody sees it, they will come up with a silly name for you, and that will stick.
Well, I had a couple of names for George Montgomery, none of which could be used on the radio.
Yeah, there's a few that can't be used on the radio.
Well, now,
for an example, Rick's muzzle loader name is Powder Trickler.
Okay.
And how he got that name was when he first started, he had a powder horn that it was plugged, and so the powder wouldn't come out. So he was sitting there just tapping on it. So everybody thought he was counting the grains of his black powder, because he was being cheap and counting the grains. So he was called Powder Trickler.
Okay.
So,
and
silly things that you do up there.
I would be a little cautious in trying to ask you, Rick, or anybody what they might give me for a nickname. Especially, don't ask George Montgomery, okay?
Well, is that why you quit coming? Because you were afraid of your nickname?
No, not at all. I just we had a ball up there. The people were so nice, and that's another part that I wanted to ask you. If somebody wants to just come up and see what it's like and be a part of it, what are some of the things they need to bring to be a part of the weekend?
You know what, Deb? I've watched people come up and just visitors that are just there for a couple hours, and there are so many people that are there that, here, borrow my hawk and knife and see what you think. Here's my gun and powder and ball, and go shoot and see what you think. They don't need to bring a thing. Just come up and enjoy, and if you like it, come back, and we'll start getting you all set up with supplies.
Absolutely. These muzzle loaders, I want to talk just a little bit more about the guns. In the old movies, it never really shows how much time it took to reload those guns. They were single shot. How long does it take you to reload after you've shot a muzzle loader?
Oh, it probably takes about, I would say, 15 seconds.
15 seconds?
I mean, and that doesn't sound like much, but when you got people shooting back at you in the olden days, that's a long time.
Yeah, but go through the process of what you have to do in 15 seconds.
Well, you've got all of your stuff hanging over your shoulder, and so you've got your powder horn. You pour it into a measure. You never pour, from the powder horn straight into your gun because that's just live powder there. So once you do that, you pour the powder from the measure into the gun, and then we have patches. There's different kinds of patches. There's some that are uptown that are already lubed, but if not, you just have patches that you've cut out, which is how they used to do it.
Uh-huh.
And generally, you'll get them wet, so we put them in our mouth. Some people have a little bottle of water that they'll, put the patch down and then put the ball on it, and then pound it down. And so it's powder, patch, and ball.
And you can do that.
I tell you, we all say that in our head as we load it, because if you do one out of order, you have a mess.
Well, now wait a minute.
The gun does not go off.
You say you have a mess, the gun doesn't go off, and it's rendered what? Useless? What do you do then?
Well, then you've got to get either something and pull the ball out, or you take the gun apart and push it out the other way. You take your cap off and, pour powder down behind where you've, put it in off.
Wow.
Hopefully it goes off.
Well,
there's just numerous ways. So we always powder, patch, ball. Make sure that we get it in there right. We've all done it. So.
Okay. What was the most famous?
I'm not happy when I look at him and go, "Hun."
What was the most famous gun from back in those days? Was it the Hawken? Or tell us a little bit about how they became so famous and how accurate really were those guns back in the 1840s?
It's interesting, and I honestly, Zeb, can't tell you which one was the most popular back then. I know the Hawkins is now, whether or not it was back in pre-1840. But as far as accuracy, we don't do this at our public shoots, but we'll do a club shoot, and we have actually lit a candle and with the ball put the flame out.
Wow.
And so that just kind of tells you the accuracy of it.
You must marvel, like I do, at not only the clothing, but also the weaponry of those times, and how advanced the gunsmiths and everything were really during that primitive time. They really knew what they were doing, didn't they?
Oh, yes, they did. Very simple guns, but very accurate, and, yeah, so knowledgeable.
Well, this is all going to take place June 23, 24, and 25. Traders and the public are welcome. And once again, tell us where it's going to be and the starting times and some of the events. We'll wrap it up. If you would, please, Mitzi.
We will start 8 o'clock. Registration will open on Friday.
we'll go until people want to go home. We do games in the evenings, so our trail walk is what we usually shoot at, the middle targets and whatnot. That will close at 5, but we'll continue on with other things, so there's always something going on. Sunday morning, we will just do shotgun shoot and a cartridge shoot. Cartridge is where they load up just modern guns and shoot black powder, in the cartridges. How to get there, we go straight through Albion. At the country store, outskirts of Albion, just make a left. The T in the road, make another left, and just follow the road all the way up. There'll be signs. It's about 2 miles up that road.
Okay. I just absolutely think the world of these people. Mitzi and Rick Ramsey with the Oregon Trail Muzzleloaders, the entire group, 36th Annual Rendezvous up at Albion this weekend. Mitzi, God bless you, did a tremendous job, and say hello to Rick for me, please.
I absolutely will, and I want to see you and Deanne up there, too.
I'd love to be up there. I'll tell you what, you folks treated us like king and queen. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thanks, Zeb.
All right, take care. Love those folks, and I've known them for a long, long time. Mitzi and Rick Ramsey and all the Rendezvous Oregon Trail Muzzleloaders this weekend up at Albion is going to be a great event. Right now, I want to remind you, on Thursdays, we have a segment on our program called Cassia County School Days, and it's brought to you by two great sponsors, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and, of course, don't forget, they've got all the birthday presents, all the baby gifts, all the baby furniture, they've got all the puzzles and games, they've got it all for you, because it's a family store, and they are waiting to serve you at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley, along with Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley for your outpatient surgeries like glaucoma surgery, colonoscopies, hand and knee surgeries, all this and more, and they can save you money. Call them at 677-8888. That number again, 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County on Thursdays at 10:10. Let me check over with Wheels. And Wheels, do we have the Silver State Stampede ready to go?
Yes, I was actually just going to get on the mic to tell you that.
Well, you didn't have to. I saved you the time. Let's hear this for the Silver State Stampede.
Nevada's oldest rodeo. The Silver State Stampede roars into Elko July 13th, 14th, and 15th for family entertainment at its best. This PRCA rodeo brings you the thrill of professional riders going head-to-head in one of the world's toughest sports, rodeo. The action kicks off Thursday with the annual kickoff party featuring mutton busting, Old West bronc riding, tri-tip dinner for just $10, and an extra dose of the world-famous Ring of Fear. Head into Friday and Saturday for PRCA rodeo action with the award-winning Wild Child Rodeo Clown and dance the night away with the Jeff Palmer Band. So gather your friends and get your tickets today for the 2017 Silver State Stampede, July 13th through the 15th. And don't forget to wear your pink for Tough Enough to Wear Pink Night on Saturday. Family entertainment at its best with the 2017 Silver State Stampede at the Elko County Fairgrounds. You'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
There you go, Silver State Stampede in Elko, Nevada. And right now, let's send it back over to our main studios. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
You know, I had this next gentleman on my program a couple of weeks ago, and I absolutely wanted to invite him back. And he has a new book that's out right now that I've got to get. I mean, I just absolutely have to get this book, read it, because it's some of the things that we've been talking about on this program every single day. And the book is entitled The Tyranny... What's the matter, Wheels?
I was just going to say, give me 1 extra minute because I did have him on the phone, but then the call dropped.
All right. Hurry up and get him back on. Thank you. The new book is called The Tyranny of the Minority, How the Left is Destroying America, with Ed Brodow, and we're going to have him on the air in just a very few moments. Evidently, maybe a cell phone call that was dropped or whatever, and Wheels is going to call him back and get him back on the program. He's one of the world's leading negotiation experts and a United States Marine Corps retired and author of books, and this one I really want to find out about. From the opening of the cover till you close it, it sounds like he's really done some research on how, literally, the left is destroying America. Let's see if we've got him back on the phone. Is he ready to go?
I'm having to call him back on the secondary number.
All right, hurry, please. And as soon as we get him on the line, these things happen sometimes on live radio broadcasts. And once again, I want to remind you that I've got a friend that absolutely is in need of a camper, a cab-over camper, 8 foot, not any longer than that, for a full-length pickup. And he wants it in very good condition, wants a good one. So if you know of somebody or yourself that has one for sale, you can call and give the information to me, and I'll pass the number on to him, and that number is 312-2976. Once again, 312-2976. If you have a camper for a pickup that would fill the bill, and give us a call, 312-2976. Wheels, is he ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, I had this man on the program a couple of weeks ago. I'm looking forward to finding out about his new book, and that is Tyranny of the Minority, How the Left is Destroying America. Ed Brodow, how are you this morning, sir?
Splendid, thank you.
You know, this book, I'm going to let you just carry the ball. You've got it at the 5-yard line, run for a touchdown. Tell us about why you thought it was really important to write about how the left is destroying America. I want to hear the general intrigue of the book.
Well, the reason I wrote the book is I think most people don't realize the damage that the left is doing and the damage that 8 years of Obama did to this country. A very good friend of mine asked me, did Obama really have that much of an effect on this country? And the fact that he would even ask that question was disturbing. So in the book, I show how the left is attacking all of the traditional values that make America what it is. I'm talking about respect for individual rights. I'm talking about free speech. I'm talking about property rights, the rule of law, taking personal responsibility. All of the things that make America America is being attacked by the left. And the one thing, there are a lot of different groups on the left, but the one thing that they all have in common is that they hate this country. They hate America. And that is very hard to believe. It's hard to swallow. We've never had that situation before in this country. But today's left would like to see our country become Venezuela.
Mm-hmm. Ed, you know, I don't know how old you are. It would be rude to ask, but I'm 69 years old. And I remember vividly the covers of the Saturday Evening Post magazine showing the values of the family, the values of going to church. Boy, things have changed in this country, haven't they?
Total change. Upside down. And it's really, it's a very dangerous thing. And if we don't do something about it, the left is going to turn this country into a totalitarian country, a socialist nation run by unaccountable government bureaucrats. That's what's going on. And I'm happy to say that the election of Donald Trump was the first step in the right direction. Because if Hillary had been elected, that would have been the end of it. I mean, that's just another 4 or 8 years of the onslaught from the left. we would have been in really, really big trouble. We're already in big trouble.
Well, let me ask you this, Ed. In accordance with what you just said, we're seeing some real political stonewalling with the Democrats. Naturally, they still can't concede the fact that they lost the election. But on the other hand, we're also seeing some knuckle dragging and foot dragging by the Republicans. And quite frankly, I think both parties need a good, swift kick in the butt to get things going for us, the people that voted this administration in to do the job for us. How would you respond for that?
I would respond by saying I agree totally. I absolutely agree. Both parties have culpability in this, and the fact that the Republicans in Congress are not giving Trump their full support is really disgraceful.
But now, do you see any light at the end of the tunnel? I mean, when you did the research for this book, are you...
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Wheels, you got to turn it up a little bit so he can hear, please. I hope that's better. Are you seeing any changes that maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and for the next 3.5 years, maybe we can get something accomplished?
Oh, yeah. I think Trump is an amazing human being. I think he's going to really make some difference, some changes here, and all to the good. So I'm very optimistic about that. At the same time, I am still concerned about all of the pushback from the left, all of the things. I mean, the anti-Trump, the anti-conservative movement. It's really quite amazing how they vilify the right, and frankly, I don't see it coming the other way. I don't, there are some people on the right who maybe are a little, could tone it down a bit, but there's nothing on the right that compares with the anger and the hostility coming from the left.
I agree. Ed, I've said on my program for a long time that the only way that we're going to change this situation to make America great again is starting with our education, whether it's in kindergarten, high school, or college. We've got to get these left-wing teachers out of the classroom and start preaching and teaching about the value of America and our Constitution. How would you respond to that?
Well, that's one of the main points in my book. I have a whole chapter devoted to the educational system. And the fact is that the left has taken over in colleges and universities. And now they're starting to take over, and they're brainwashing kids at 5 years old. And I think that the only way that we have to deal with that is for parents to take responsibility. If you're a parent and you have a child that's being brainwashed, do something about it. Complain to the college. Stop, refuse to make donations to the college. Demand that they hire conservative professors to balance out the message that these kids are getting. I think that it's the parents who have kind of let this thing go, and they don't want to take responsibility for it.
Absolutely. Another part of your book that I want you to highlight a little bit is the end of political correctness. I'd like to see political correctness swept up off a dirty floor and thrown in the garbage because it's the ruination of our country. Your thoughts on that?
Again, I totally agree with you, and there's a chapter in my book that's free speech versus political correctness. The two cannot coexist. Political correctness is an attempt by the left to shut down all conservative opinions. It is insidious. It's right out of George Orwell's 1984, where you had the thought police. Our thought police is political correctness. And unless we start to push back and say, hey, I'm mad as hell, I'm not going to take this anymore, big trouble. Again, because the kids are being brainwashed with this nonsense.
Absolutely. Another part of your book that I was reading, some of the highlights, is about our borders, our very porous, open borders, and I like your phrases. We have the borders open to Stone Age people that want to come here and kill us. Explain that. I agree with you 100%.
Well, yeah, you take a guy, some man who's living in Baghdad, in Iraq. he's living in a culture that essentially is out of the 7th century. He's 1,400 years behind. That's what I mean by the Stone Age. And the liberals think that you can take that man, put him on an airplane. A few hours later, he gets off at Kennedy Airport in New York, and all of a sudden, he's going to become a modern American. He's going to accept our values and no longer be a Stone Age person. That is ridiculous. It's just not going to happen. These people have an ideology that is completely opposed to ours, as I explained in the book. And I'm a hardliner on this. I believe that every American ought to be an Islamophobe. I think that Islam is a very, very dangerous political ideology that supports murder, intolerance, and misogyny. And I don't want to see it in this country. So all we have to do is look at Europe and see what's going on in Europe. And we have to be sure that it doesn't happen here.
You know, when people buy your book, and like I've asked you before, when they start at the beginning and close the cover at the end of the last chapter, what do you hope as an author that they will do from that point after finishing your book?
I hope that they will get out there and express their conservative points of view and not be quiet about it. Conservatives have been very quiet. We need to get out there, put it out there. Because there are a lot of people in this country who think that liberals are in the majority. They are not. It's a minority. And we need to get more vocal, articulate conservatives expressing the conservative viewpoint.
Absolutely.
That's what I hope will happen as a result of my book.
Now, where can the book be obtained? I want to really highlight that. Go ahead.
Best place is Amazon.
Okay. And I want to stress the title is Tyranny of the Minority, How the Left is Destroying America, with the author Ed Brodow. Ed, real quick, your thoughts on the first 150 days of Trump and looking to the next 3.5 years. Are you optimistic?
Yes, I am. I think he's done a terrific job in a short period of time. I don't think the media has given him any credit. The media is totally in the pocket of the Democratic Party and the left. So we're not getting the truth about what's happening. But the wonderful thing about Trump is that he doesn't take it lying down. He pushes back. You know, he defends himself. And I think that as he becomes more and more knowledgeable about how Washington works, that we're going to see some really terrific changes take place. So I'm extremely optimistic about it.
I'm absolutely glad to have you on the program. Ed Brodow, and of course the author of the book, Tyranny of the Minority, How the Left is Destroying America. Ed, please come back in the future. God bless you, and good luck with your book.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I got to go get a copy of that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to Twin tomorrow. I'm going to pick one up. And he's a very interesting man. Had him on my program in the past, and can't wait to read it. Tyranny of the Minority, How the Left is Destroying America. We got to get a weather forecast on here real quick, and then I would love to have you give me a call. Come on, just chime in and talk about any subject you want. I'd love to hear from you. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Scarro's Meats is going to bring us the weather right now, and they're located at 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. Oh, my goodness, go to their website and check out all the delicious meats they have for you. ScarrowMeats.com. Yep, breakfast sausages and the bratwurst and a new kind of a bacon, leaner and more economical than traditional bacon. It's called buckboard bacon in many different flavors. Oh, you're going to love it. Absolutely delicious. Scarrow's Meats. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Well, we're getting ready to saddle up and ride again for the weekend. Here is what we can expect as far as the weather is concerned. Today, looking at partly cloudy skies, really not much of a wind to speak of. Temperatures reaching up to about 90 degrees for today. Tonight, low of 60. Tomorrow, sunny skies. Winds are going to be picking up to about 14 miles an hour out of the west. High of 93 with an overnight low of 62. Partly cloudy, 86 for Wednesday. Then it looks like we're going to be cooling off as we get into the weekend. Looks like sunny skies, 82 for Thursday. Friday, sunny and 80. Looks like that for Saturday as well. That is your weather for Zebeth Ray.
She does a great job putting that all together for us. Gina, thank you on the weather forecast, brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. They are, yes, they are, changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Okay, now it's your turn. Come on, please, call me at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call, I want to remind you, too, that this coming Thursday, we will have Lunch Bunch at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Hey, Deanne, do you have the list of all the thank yous for the door prizes out there? If you do, I'll take that. And we're going to meet 11:30 at Denny's Restaurant. And once a month, we get together, and we have about 60, 70 people that show up, and it's a fun time with a lot of door prizes. And we sincerely want to thank everybody for being involved. I know that we've got door prizes from Hanson Mortuary and Smith's Food and Stokes, and I think our good buddy Doug Martin with the redneck cup holders. We've got all kinds of fun. So that is coming up on this Thursday at Denny's Restaurant at 11:30. Don't you miss it. All right, now it's your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Talking about old Westerns, and we've done it twice this morning, and we've had quite a bit of response to it. Name some of the old Westerns that you'd like to see maybe redone or remade for today and put on television in prime time. I'd like to hear what your response will be. Here comes Guru with my list. Thank you. Once again, Walmart, yes, and Smith's and Hanson Mortuary and Stokes and Doug Martin. Thank you for Lunch Bunch, and that'll be on Thursday. Give me a call and talk to me about some of the old programs maybe you'd like to see redone today with maybe different actors, but the same kind of a theme, the same kind of atmosphere and storyline, and see what your thoughts are, because anything from the past, I think, whether it's the comedies, whether it's the westerns, whether even the detective shows, like 77 Sunset Strip, and many of the shows from way back then, I think would be a ton better than what we have on the air today. Filthy sitcoms, not much of any family value, if any, and I'd like to see a lot of these shows replaced. And a caller called in last hour, I think it was, brought up a really good point. Man, why are all these other channels like 259 and 342, why are they so popular? Because people want to see something of value, where the bad guys lose and the good guys win, like our society used to be. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I am waiting for... Here it comes already. My goodness sakes, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Zeb, one show that I'd love to see again would be Gunsmoke.
I totally agree. I don't think, though, that you could ever in modern day times come up with another James Arness, come up with another Milburn Stone, come up with another Ken Curtis playing Festus, or Amanda Blake as Miss Kitty. I mean, man, you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody that could be that good.
That's right, and I believe you, but boy, that show was something else.
And the bad guys always got whooped, and the good guys and good thoughts always prevailed on Gunsmoke. It ran for years and years and years and went through a lot of great actors. But, boy, I'll tell you what the mainstay is. Old Doc, played by Milburn Stone, and Festus and Miss Kitty, they were just irreplaceable.
Yes, that's right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gunsmoke, I'd have to put at the top of the list. I absolutely agree. Another good one was Wagon Train. Oh, but today, could Wagon Train survive? Because they'd probably have Indian attacks, or they'd probably have some other, today's culture, not be politically correct. Call me. Let me know what your thoughts are about some of the programming that you'd like to see changed and brought back from the past. While I'm waiting for your call, I'd like to also say thank you to Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We're doing the right thing matters every day, and that's exactly what they do. The right thing to help serve you. They've got all the tires for all your driving needs, whether it's your pickups, your SUVs, your cars. And, you know, get in there and just talk to them and say, well, here, I do a lot of driving here and I go there. They know exactly the kind of tire with the tread design that you need, okay? And don't forget, too, they got the best in brake service. Absolutely highly trained technicians, the best in brake service to you, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, all of this and more, along with great batteries at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Be sure and stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. The best. What do we got? Yes.
I was just going to put in my opinion. I know that I don't get on the mic very much to express my opinion.
Well, you just go right ahead.
Well, talking about the old sitcoms and stuff like that, you know, I was thinking about Gunsmoke myself because I've seen it a few times with my grandpa, and I thought that was a great show. But I think I'd like to see kind of a revision done as far as the Little House on the Prairie. I think even though it wasn't your typical Western with the cowboys and the guns, it still was family-oriented.
You know what? I think your choice is a wise one, young man. Michael Landon and the people with Little House on the Prairie. As a matter of fact, one of the daughters from that show, the actress name is Melissa Francis, and she currently works for Fox News as an analyst. I am trying to get her on the program next week.
Now, is that the young? That's
she
the
was
one, right?
No, she was a little bitty girl, and she was the youngest daughter, Melissa Francis. And we're going to try to get her on the phone. And she has written a book, and we're going to try to get her on our show. But Michael Landon and Little House on the Prairie, I don't think you could ever find a better family values show. I think you hit a home run with that one.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember a few times being younger as well that my mom would put it on the TV.
Absolutely.
It was good because it just kind of made me think about what it was like back then.
Absolutely.
How families kind of treated each other. So.
Well, good choice, my friend. Thank you for chiming in.
No problem.
All right, I got to wrap it up. I'm late already. My goodness sakes, good point. I appreciate it. Tomorrow morning, we'll be right back here at 8:06, and, of course, on KBAR 1230 a.m., and then streaming live on the internet, ZebBell.com, all over the universe. And with old wheels running the board over at the main studio, I'm Zeb Bell. And remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. See you tomorrow morning at 8:06.